Do you just have the one book? Just want to make sure.
Yeah, just the one book, but future books coming with the different businesses that I got going down. So we'll focus on the account success formula, and then we'll just have fun from there.
Cool.
We got to get into the Viking Academy.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there we go. Let's bring that
Yeah.
up. Actually, we can get into that right away. I'll just talk about the book so I have information for my team, and then let's just jump all over. Okay. We can do
Yeah,
all
yeah,
kinds of cool
we'll
shit.
just flow.
Yeah.
This is like jazz music. We just fucking go.
Beautiful. All right. In three, two. Welcome to another episode of Million Dollar Stories, where we get to interview authors from all over the world. Now, I am a big believer in talking to authors because they have the courage to take their thoughts, their stories, their lessons, put it down in a book and share it with the many, ultimately changing their legacy and destiny in the process. And if you're an entrepreneur out there, I highly recommend you write a book. The reason why you're able to obtain clarity, self-awareness, and opportunities. And if you need help with that, check out dreamstarterspublishing.com. And if you already have a book that's done, you want to use it to generate leads with your business or for your business, check out bookmarketingcrm.com. Now, I'm excited about this next guest because he has a personality that is very unique, especially in his world. He's in many different worlds, but this one world, when it comes to accounting specifically, very different than most. So he has some lessons, maybe when it comes to, giving up your time for money and then figuring out how do I make money chase me rather than me chase it. So a lot of principles will transcend the accounting world and go into any business. So stay tuned for this. The book that we're talking about is called The Accountant Success Formula, Freeing Today's Accountant from an Oppressive Business Model. And the author is Eric the Viking Solbakken. Thanks so much for being here, man.
Thanks, Mike. This is going to be a lot of fun. Dude, you said something at the front end of this, and it just, I had a bunch of pings there. You said when you publish a book, it gives you clarity, self-awareness, and what was the last one?
Opportunities.
Opportunities. Oh, amen to that. That is so true. It is so true. Because and it wasn't until you said that I was like, after I wrote my first book, I was like, yeah, actually, I had a lot more clarity on who I was going for, what I was doing, and the self-awareness. And then tons of opportunities showed up. So like,
Yeah.
yes,
So
one, two,
I'm not
three.
bullshitting you guys. This
No,
is
you're
real
not.
stuff.
He's not full of shit. He's not full of shit. It actually worked. And that's the first time I heard you say that. I was like, well, and but like, this is the first time you and I've met, and I feel like you're already like kindred brothers or something. This is
Yep.
crazy. But yeah. So where do you want to start out?
Yeah, dude. Well, first off, you tell us a little bit about the genesis of this book. What made you want to write it? I know you have a lot going on. So just writing a book in general, what made you want to write it? What's it about? And if you can give us a quick little glimpse of who you are, maybe where you come from, what put you on this pathway?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this it all started with a glimmer in my dad's eye back in Norway.
Yeah. We don't need to
Okay,
go back to that
too far
moment.
back,
Yeah.
too far back. Okay. So I'm a CPA, and I went in, and I say that with a little cough in my throat because I'm moving out of that world, but that's another story altogether. I'm a CPA, and so what happened was I went into the accounting profession, got my designation, worked hard, 18 years of slogging it out in a traditional firm, and then the partnership imploded that I was in. And what it did is it woke me up, and I went, "What the hell am I doing?" Like, I just been burning my brains out, work, and everybody, the typical story of the accountant, they work crazy hours.
Oh, yeah.
They're like mushrooms, you keep them in the dark and you feed them shit and they're fine, right? Like, that's accountants. And so I just, after 18 years, I went, what am I doing? And so what I did is I started becoming like an entrepreneur, and I started a new firm, tried a whole bunch of new different ways of doing things. And I went, yeah, I'm smarter than this. We got to be able to figure out a better way. So I started a new firm. We worked zero overtime. I got rid of the billable hour. I started getting clients price ahead of time, a smoothed out cash flow for them. Everybody was happy. And then I sold the firm because once I built it, I realized, oh, now what am I going to do? I should have realized I was an entrepreneur. I'm not an accountant. Okay. And I'm an entrepreneur.
Ooh, yes.
That's the big switch that went off in my head. And I should have figured that out when I was in university. When I was in university, I said, okay, I'm going to university to become an accountant. But then I found psychology, and I was like, ooh, this is great. And I went, oh, I'll get a double major in accounting and psychology. And then what I'll do is, when I have my accounting firm, the person will come in, I'll give them all their taxes, and then I'll give them my bill. They'll be so distraught. I'll walk them over to the couch, and then I will counsel them, and I'll get to double bill it. Right. And then I'll get double. And then I should have realized then I was an entrepreneur, not an accountant. But anyways, so here's the thing is that fast forward, I sold the accounting firm and then I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I had a bunch of accountants asking me to help them with their business model. Next thing I know, I kind of fell into coaching and I was working with a coach. And he said to me, if you have a coach who doesn't have a coach, you need a new coach. So of course I was coaching accountants and I had my own coach. And he told me, he said, Eric, you need to write a book. And I went, you got to be shitting me. Like, dude, I'm a numbers guy. I'm not like, I sucked at English, right? And how am I supposed to write a book? He says, I'll give you the outline. I'll give you and just go and do it. So sure enough, he said, here's what you do. Go write the book. And I went out and I did my first draft and I sent it back to him and he looked at me and he goes, holy crap, this is really good. Like you just banged off a book. He said, it's so important to have a book because and he called it to me. He said, it was your $6 business card. Instead of handing out business cards, you hand out the book. And it's like, once you do it and you have it your own and you
Who's
just throwing
a book away? You're putting it on the coffee table. You're looking at it daily. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So he talked me into that and he said, you got to do this. So I went, okay, fine. So, and he had a publishing company. So anyways, there's a whole different bunch of ways to publish and you can explain that to your listeners. They know that's why they come to you. But I did it. And then next thing I know, I was out there handing the book out like chiclets and promoting myself. And next thing I know, like what you said down there, when I wrote the book, it created so much more clarity on who I wanted to work with, but more importantly, who I didn't want to work with.
Bingo.
Success is who you say no to. Success is what you say no to, right? SIWSNT, that's an acronym that's burned in my brain now. And so I got clarity and then more self-awareness on, I was looking to change the profession, change the model, change the way that things were done because business owners, and which is all the people that are listening to this podcast, your business owners, your accountants suck. Okay, I'm going to say it straight out. Accountants' traditional model sucks. They're nothing but compliance donkeys. They take your information, they punch it into the government, they put numbers in boxes, and then they tell you how much tax you owe.
Yep.
That doesn't help you as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, we're looking to the future. What are we going to grow? What are we going to become? So the whole thing with the accountant success formula model was twofold. One was get rid of this billable hour bullshit and give the business owner a known number so they could do an ROI calculation.
$200 a month or whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is. And then here's what I'm going to do for you. And they know you understand so you can do an ROI, a return on investment. Sorry, I'm still an accountant. I'm using acronyms.
No,
right?
I like it.
ROI
my accountant applied this same technique and I told him over and over, listen, you have so many people you're just doing taxes for. Focus on the business owners, have them pay $200 a month, only work with maybe 50 of them. You're done.
Yeah, exactly. Bingo. And so there you go. Mike just told the book. I'm finished. I can just leave the podcast now. We're done. But no, seriously, like it was two parts. Is one, get rid of the billable hour. Number two, actually start advising them on where they're going in the future because it's what we care about. A bigger, brighter future is what gets us out of bed. Bigger, brighter future is what makes entrepreneurs. They're like, no, I see an opportunity here to create some more value in the world. There's this thing that's wrong that needs to be fixed, and I want to help serve people. So that's the gist of the accountant success formula. And so to come back to the whole thing, I fell into becoming, I kind of joke around this. I call it's like being in the mob. You're out and they suck you back in. I was trying to get out of accounting and I got sucked back in, but I got sucked back in being a coach to accounting firms. And so now I coach firms all over North America, showing them how to update their business model so they can reclaim their freedom. And the book was, like I said, it was a birthing process. It gave me so much clarity, the self-awareness and the opportunities was amazing because then all of a sudden people are like, oh, you're an author. All of a sudden people pay attention to you. They're like, oh, yep. And at the end of my name, I'm like, I'm the creator, the founder, or the creator, CPA and author, or creator, speaker, author. And all of a sudden you have this instant credibility. Bingo. Like beyond what it normally is. It's like, oh, you wrote a book. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. I did. Actually, I wrote a book, which I'm still shocked at. I'm still shocked that I'm a published author, but it's not as hard as people think. And it's the best thing you can do. But anyways, gave me tons of opportunities. And so from there, and I don't know where you want to go with this, Mike, but I've got, I've online course. I do one-on-one coaching. There's so many different avenues you can spread out from the book. I got speaking gigs. I do podcasts. I do, weekly videos to my listeners. And it's one of the best things I've ever done. And the other thing too, I just want to highlight it. it gave me confidence because it's a capability I never thought I had. I never thought I could write a book, right? I never even dreamed about writing a book. But someone told me, no, you can. They gave me permission. Not only that, they encouraged me. Once I was done, man, my confidence went through the roof.
Bingo. Yeah, I'm with you. I felt two
Yeah.
feet taller. So I was
Yeah.
at I was at least 5 foot then, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. And I guess what you said there makes so much sense for anybody out there. Like you don't know that you can do it. And then the other part of it is maybe it does take someone to give you permission. However, I always say to my clients, nobody's going to give you permission. Only you have access to the next level of your life. So you have to give yourself permission to write the first book and then continue to write. There is uh no set level that okay, I have to become a billionaire to write a book. No, if you have obtained the hero's journey in any shape and form, it's your moral obligation to turn around and help those behind you get to where you're at now. And so it
Ex-
could be becoming financially free. It could become, it could have to do with you overcoming adversity, finding yourself, increasing your self awareness, whatever it is. If you've done something that other people look to you and say, man, I wish I was able to do what that individual did, then you turn around, you write down the lessons, you share your stories, you tie it to that target audience, the people that you want to work with, which is really, really crucial for any entrepreneur out there. Saying no to certain people, saying yes to others will set you free. And so I
yeah.
do want to talk about what lessons do you teach now to entrepreneurs? Now you work with accountants and I guess other people, but what lessons can you teach your former self or to anybody out there starting a business that are really I guess in your DNA? And what I'm hearing is number one, recurring revenue, predictable revenue. Number two, target audience, become very clear on the person that you want to work with on a day-to-day basis. And then number three, I would say becoming very selective on the paths you take. Or maybe number four, when it comes to just creating authority, and the authority kind of transcends the industry that you're in into other areas, which gives you access to other businesses, other people, and other solutions. So, what would you
Yeah.
say to them?
Okay. So, dude, we could unpack so much out of what you just said there. There's
Yeah.
so many different avenues. Like you were like one, I was like two, three, four, and I was like, okay, how are we going to distill this down? Let's just recap. So I just want to reiterate the 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 thing about writing a book and then giving yourself permission. What I love about what you're doing, Mike, is that you're showing people, giving them the confidence to go forward and do it. Look, here's all these other people that have done it. I've done it. Here, it's not that hard. I'll show you how to do it. And then when we do it, I'll show you how to actually get it out there and monetize it. So what you're doing is incredibly empowering. And for me, it's all about empowering the individual. And so this kind of ties into the whole thing. Like, who am I really looking to work with? My modus operandi is to help break people free from the oppression that's holding them back so they can recover the joy of living and experience freedom to creatively express themselves.
Oh yeah.
And that's my mantra. That's who I am. And so I just happen to have a niche right now with accountants because I was an accountant and because I was being held back and I was under this, I call it an oppressive system. But the accounting, I could go on for hours about the accounting profession, actually is a bureaucratic organization. The CPA Institute is a bureaucratic organization it trains, controls, and monitors entrepreneurial accountants. So accountants no wonder accountants are like, they're technicians having an entrepreneurial seizure because they're being controlled by a bureaucratic organization. That's the oppressor, right? So
Right.
we're going to go into the hero's journey, right? So there's the villain and they're the hero and I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Or I'm Yoda. Yeah, do or do not. There is no try, right? And so I'm showing them that they can be the hero here, right? And so you're also doing that with the entrepreneur, showing them that you can be the hero to somebody else, and then do that, right? And so the oppressor for most entrepreneurs, and this has come back to our listeners here, to your listeners, is that what is it that's really holding you back from doing what you really want to do, how you really want to creatively express yourself, and who you really want to serve? And I found that when I was chasing what everybody else told me what to do, I was never fully satisfied. I was filled with fear and I was never comfortable in my own skin. Because ultimately, that's what we're all trying to do, feel comfortable in our own skin and actually play the part that we're here to play in this unfolding of the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought for me, it was the accountants, and I'm going to do this and the accountants and then blah, blah, blah. And then I realized it was, I am a very sub niche to the accounting world. I'm looking for entrepreneurial minded accountants that want to create value, not just put numbers in boxes. So I've got this super hyper niche that I work in. But when I'm working with my ideal client, man, I'm not working. I'm playing. I'm filled
Yes.
with energy. I'm energized. I do 6 hours of coaching calls in a day, like back to back to back, six different accountant CPAs across North America. And the last one of the last call, like the sixth person, I'll get on the call and I'll go, hey, guess what? And they go, what, Eric? And I said, you're number six. And they go, oh shit. They know they're in for full, like they're in for the full fire hose of Eric, because now I'm so jacked up from all the information I got from the first five. They know they're going to get like the full primo spot. So a lot of them are anchoring their coaching calls at the end of my day because they know I'm filled with this energy. But that's because I'm working with the right person. So for the
Yes.
listener out there, who is it that you really want to serve? It's all about serving others. Once you get out of this, I need to do this business for me and it's me, me, me. As soon as you turn and start saying, who am I serving? Who do I really give a shit about? Then it doesn't become work. It becomes joyful. It becomes this expression. And so for me, you know, I was looking at the business model going, there's something wrong with this business model with these accountants. And if think about this, your business model is how you create, deliver, and capture the value you create, right? So you create, deliver, and capture value. That's a business model. So how are you creating it? How are you delivering it? And then how are you capturing it? Well,
Mm-hmm.
that if you can apply that to any business and any organization, any entrepreneurial organization, say, well, how are you creating, delivering, and capturing value? And they're like, wow, that's true. The focus becomes on value, not the stuff, not the all the different, here's this extra bonus and here's this bonus and here's, well, that's fine. That's the stuff. That's the things you do. But what is the value you're actually creating? So get you always in the mind of the person saying, what is the transformation they're going to have as a result of me working with them? What's
Wow.
the transformation? And for me, I'm very clear on the transformation. I want to pull away the blockers that's holding you back so you can go and enjoy your life. That's it. That's it in a nutshell.
I
And
dig it.
that I realize now that is actually that is my superpower. Like when I meet someone, I'm like, I can see what's going on. I know what's blocking you. And then I work with them to move it out of the way so they can go and live their lives with passion and purpose. And so this kind of ties into the next phase of Eric, shall we call it Eric the Viking, is I'm launching the Viking Academy. Okay.
Okay.
And the
All right.
Viking Academy,
I could
there
see
we
your eyes light up the moment I started asking you about it before. It's
yeah,
in your soul, man. There is
yeah,
something that you want to get out. So yeah, please
yeah.
tell the Viking
Yeah.
guys, look
The,
this up.
the Viking Academy. So it's going to be launched in the next quarter. Okay. The Viking Academy is a resource platform for exploring the three dimensions of being human, the mind, the body, and the spirit. Okay. And the purpose, and so the Vikings they encompassed those three core features, the mind, the body, and the spirit. They were creating and collecting new data. They created the long ship. They were creating new ways of sailing. They found a way to sail all the way to North America. Their bodies, they were Vikings, they were warriors. The women were the Valkyrie or were the shield maidens, the men were the warriors, and they all went to war together. They were physically strong and they knew their bodies, and their spirit was so strong and they were connected to their gods, whatever your spirit is, right? They lived, they were not afraid to die. Because they were not afraid to die, they lived stronger and greater. And so for me, I'm realizing that those three things, the mind, the body, and spirit, for each one of us, if we can explore those like a Viking and like a warrior and explore them and experience those three dimensions, you'll embrace who you are and why you're here, and you can live with passion and purpose. That's the next phase for me. And the Viking Academy is going to create a tribe, and it's a movement of people that want to figure out who they are and why they're here and be fierce like a Viking. Doesn't mean we're going to dress up in Viking gear and all the rest of that. Mind you, I might do it. I don't know. We'll see. But for me, I'm excited about that. And just to put that into perspective, is there a book in that? Oh, hell yeah. Do I know
Mm-hmm.
what it's going to be yet? Not a clue, but I'm not worried about it. But I know it's going to be there because I know what the accountant success formula did for me for the accountant for that platform, it was like the fire starter, right? So I'm going to do a podcast, I'm going to do a membership, and there's going to be a book. But I don't know what the book is yet, but I'm not worried about it because here's the thing. I've done a book before. I know I can do it again. And so for those listeners out there who haven't done a book and they think, oh, Eric, I can't write a book. I'm like, yeah, you can. Listen to Mike. Just
Right.
listen to him.
Well, you're speaking my language, but I would say make it as simple as live like a Viking, right? How to connect your mind, body, and spirit and embrace the warrior lifestyle. Done,
Yeah.
right? Break
Yeah.
down the lessons, tie in the stories of how you learn those lessons. And now
Yeah.
you are really attracting people who want to connect their mind, body, and spirit, but also have that warrior inside them. We work with
Hmm.
people who write those books for former athletes, right? They lose their soul whenever they graduate from college or give up that sport. So
Mm.
if you just stoke that fire a little bit and then you get those flames going, you can apply those emotions into your business, into your career, and it sounds like that's what you're going to be doing.
Yeah. And for me, it's a little, there's a deeper level on this whole thing. The Viking Academy is about once you explore your mind, your body, and your spirit, yours, not somebody else's. See, here's the thing: there's 4 million gurus out there telling you this is what you have to do to be successful. Like I'm talking in the mind, body, and spirit. Everybody's telling you what to do, and I'm saying you need to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
You're individual. You're unique. No person in the since the beginning of time till the end of time has ever been you. That was the gift the universe gave you, was your unique experience, your unique way of being. So explore the mind, body, and spirit. Figure out what works for you and why you're here, and unlock that passion and purpose. So like you said, like you saw it in my eyes, Mike, like I'm all of a sudden, I'm like, there's this convergence for me. I'm like, holy shit, they used to call me the Viking when I was in high school all the time. And I just kind of let it go away. And then I became a CPA, which everybody could not understand. Because back in high school, I played in a heavy metal band. And they're like, what are you doing, Eric? I thought you were going to go like tour down to LA, back up the coast. And like, because I had a tour lined up from Victoria all the way down to LA and back. And I never ended up going. I went to school to become an accountant. Now all my friends are looking at me like, what the hell's wrong with you? And then now all of a sudden I'm playing in a heavy metal band again. I'm embracing the Viking, and I'm realizing that that's just who I've always been. And that's why I'm here. But I had to go experience that whole part of my life, the accountant world, and going up and down. And I lost an accounting practice, and I had a marriage breakdown 16 and a half years ago. I ended up in rehab, and I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I had to go through all of that. And that started my whole phase. Everything we experience in life is for a reason and for a purpose to bring you to who you are today. And so for me now, all of a sudden, I've got this fire in my belly. It's like, holy crap, I just want to unlock that for other people. It's like, look, everything that you've experienced creates who you are today.
Mm.
And embrace that and unlock that. The universe made you for a reason. What is that reason? Whatever it is, once you realize this is why I'm here, holy shit. Now we're on fire. Now you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to get my message out there. I'm going to share that with those people. I'm going to do this, right?
You said you're a psychology or were a psychology major. Is that right?
Yes.
Or you are about to become a psychology major?
I have a double major in accounting and psychology. Yes.
Gotcha. So you probably love the Carl Jungs, the Friedrich Nietzsche's, people that I study. Do you pay
Yeah.
attention to some of the things that
Oh,
they've
I,
written?
I know exactly but the interesting thing, when I was going through university, I was driven more towards the behaviorists, right? Because it was more scientifically, like it
Oh,
was always
okay.
about the positive, negative reinforcement and the rest of it. Carl Jung's, but I really I like the hierarchy of needs.
Maslow.
Maslow's hierarchies of needs is just brilliant, but it's all
Self-actualization. That you're helping
self-actualization.
people self-actualize.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. That's what this is about. So all the psychology, and again, that's the mind, right? That's the mind part. And I want to open that up and create that resource and create a movement of people that want to figure out why they're here. And I'm saying, here's the, not the shortcut, but here's the simplifier. Think about it in terms of three things: your mind, your body, and your spirit. If you're just working on your mind and you're not taking your body and your spirit, you're not complete. If you're just working on your body and you're just pumping up and taking steroids and just not working your mind and your body, you're not complete. If you're doing the mind and the body, but you're not connecting to that voice inside, that spirit, there's a connective spirit in there. And whatever that is, right, man? I'm not saying go to God, Allah, Buddha, Brahma, baby Jesus, doesn't matter. Odin, Freya, Thor, whoever, doesn't matter, whatever you call it, but just find what resonates for you. Then you have this solid foundation and go, this is why I'm here. Man, this is fun. Let's have fun while we're here, right? Like I
Hmm.
always say that life's a sandbox. Let's go play, right? But the thing is, we don't really know what we're supposed to be doing. That most of us are just, and I did that for like, I'm 54 now. I'm finally figuring my shit out, Mike. Like, I mean, it's, you know, that's the truth of the matter. So,
So I have this philosophy, and see if you agree with me. But in order to self-actualize, you actually have to go through a ground zero moment. You
yep.
have to lose it all. And the reason why is because as you go through life, especially if you're in a certain environment that's not very good for you, you adopt all these beliefs that really are not your beliefs. They're people's beliefs around you that are not conducive with abundance, and they're
Mm-hmm.
and they're not leading to any type of freedom. So you adopt all these ways of looking at life that don't serve you, right? You do things to please people. You're a people
Mm-hmm.
pleaser, and you live in a way that maybe you're scarcity minded about money, about everything. I can't give away my information because if I do it, they're just going to take it and they're going to steal it and they're going to run with it. So scarcity minded, they can't see any type of vision that's the promised land. They've given up hope. They might not believe in some type of spirituality or religion because they think it's some type of like hoopla
Woo-woo.
that's fake, right? So what I've realized is that you have to try all that in early on and then fail and come to a ground zero moment. Carl Jung talks about ground zero moments and how it's a blessing. But in 2017, whenever the train went off the tracks in my life, I looked up to God, and I feel like I that's when my relationship with God really happened. But I said, I tried to be the nice guy. I tried to be the guy that pleased everybody, didn't really speak up, said whatever I thought would make me like, just a friend to everybody, and I tried to do everything in accordance to what everybody else told me to do. And look where it got me. I was in debt. I wasn't healthy. Relationships sucked. Nobody cared. Nobody's paying attention. And I was at the mercy of trying to get a corporate job. And I was miserable. And I really was not happy with anything in my life. So I said, you know what? This is the time to reinvent myself. This is the time to go all in. And as time went on, I became much more spiritually connected. I became
Mm-hmm.
way more faithful to God, I guess, or my faith filled in relation to church and just talking to God and feeling more like a buddy than I had to go there and sit and do the pews and do
Yep.
everything in order. But also my faith, my body, I started to really manage. Okay, I'm not going to drink as much. I gave up drinking as slowly but surely. And then when you talk about the mind, I just fed my mind with personal development stuff. So whenever it comes to your content, mind, body, spirit, it took some time, but it went from, spider webs everywhere to just one. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
felt as one, I had everything I needed. Okay. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks of me anymore. I'm going to build my life my way. I have a relationship with God. And what the hell? How could I really be hurt if mind, body, and spirit are connected? So self-actualization to me is connected to a ground zero moment. Do you agree with that?
You you had me at hello.
Yes.
Like,
I
dude,
knew it.
look, everything, no, everything you said, like pain is the touchstone of all growth. You have to hit your shit on the bottom. You have to hit the bottom. And
Heartbreak
I
is
had
good for you. It sounds
it, it
crazy.
it's great for you. When the bottom is great for you because you hit. So everything you said, yes, 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 and yes. I was scarcity mindseted. I was trying to find my way in the world. I became an accountant because I had made a contract with my mother a long time ago to do that because she wanted to be a math teacher and couldn't become a math teacher because she had to come to Canada to hide from the fact that I was conceived prior to their marriage. And like, there's just like all these interconnected webs where I was constantly trying to take care of everybody else and do the right thing, but it wasn't who I was. It wasn't who I am. And so I hit my bottom. I lost my accounting practice. I had a divorce, I had the alcoholism, it all came crashing down. And then I also had to turn to a higher power. And the funny thing is like I've found the resonance for me just lately has been with uh the Viking gods. Like I
Wow.
talk to them all the time. But the thing is, I realize the All Father is it's all aspects of the one creation. It doesn't, this is the wonderful thing. Like religions don't need to fight against one another because they're all saying the same bloody thing.
They're
It's just
pretty damn
no,
spot on. When you
no,
break it down, a
they're
lot
all
of them are
just,
about 90, 95% similar.
but it's all the rituals and stuff that they say, well, your ritual is wrong, and therefore your ritual is wrong, and or you're praying to a false god and you're praying to a false god. I'm like, wait a second. If God is everything or he's nothing, it's either everything, it's all, or it's not. You know what I mean? Like, so it's all different aspects of consciousness. That's what we're talking about. So if your concept of God is God, fine. If your concept of God is Odin, fine. Or if it's Allah, fine. If it's Buddha, fine. If it's baby Jesus, go for it. Like, love the baby Jesus, right? It's like Talladega Nights, man. I
Here,
love
six
the baby Jesus.
pound, 3 ounce baby Jesus in a
Baby
manger. Don't
Jesus.
even know a word yet.
I love it. Yeah. So, I mean, but what we're talking about here is finding your place. Who are you and why are you here? Right. And we're all, that's every single human is trying to figure that out. Guess what? We're all still a little bit in the dark. Even
Hmm.
if we say we have clarity on it, there's always a little bit of darkness in there. So why don't we all just agree that we're all just trying to figure this shit out and go enjoy it
Yep.
together? And that for me, again, this is that breaking people free from the oppression that's holding them back is ultimately yourself. You are the only person holding yourself back. Even though we point the finger at everybody else, well, it's that person and they did this and my mommy did that and I have this childhood trauma and that person said this to me and that one, it ultimately, once you hit that bottom, you realize, and you did that, Mike, you had to pick yourself up.
Yep.
You had to go, nope, it's time for me to actually pick up the reins and do this. Um, and it's not, so it's really yourself. You make that decision to move forward. And that's what I love about what you're doing here with the books and giving people permission to express themselves. Come write a book, get the book out, do something uncomfortable outside your comfort zone. It will help you. It gives you, and I'm saying again, I'm coming back to these three, man. It gave me clarity, gave me self-awareness, and it increased my opportunities to serve.
Hmm.
Right. And I know the Viking Academy, there'll be a book in the Viking Academy. That's a given. It's going to happen. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that we share the same sentiment on the sense of play. Alan Watts has the great quote: "The key to life is to see no difference between work and play." And whenever
Mm.
that clicked for me, it was like, man, I get to play every day. And the moment I play every day, I feel young all the
Mhm.
time. I feel youthful. I feel, I'm 39 years old. I was in the corporate space 9 years ago. I felt like a 90-year-old man sitting there. Do you realize that I feel like a 17-year-old right now at 39? And I think it has to do with it. I feel like I'm playing day in and day out with my
Yeah.
work. And I get to play at work, but also I get to leave here and I go for a run. That's play. I used to hate running, but now I look at it as like, man, I get to run. I don't have to run. I get to run. Then I get on a
Yeah.
motorcycle and then that's a sense of play. So I feel like I'm playing all the time. That serves me because I think the energy that I exude because of it, individuals will say, even if they're multi millionaires, they'll say, what the hell does that person have? What did they figure out? And then if you have something that other people want, whether it's an energy level or some type of solution, you're going to attract attention. What you do with that attention is really the end all be all. You have to give them some type of insight or resource that will help them obtain it. And I think that you can't fake this energy, and you have it
Yeah.
too, a sense of play in your lifestyle day in and day out,
Yeah.
and that's attractive to the everyday viewer. Am I right?
Yes, it is. And just to the listener here. Now, if you're not feeling that sense of play, don't beat yourself up because I was there. Mike was there. We
Mm-hmm.
were all there. And I'm not saying I'm in a sense of play all the time because I forget all the time. Like, and then I'll get stressed out and I'll do some
Of
stressy
course,
things.
it's
And
not
then, because
100%
we're human,
24/7,
we just
right?
go up and down and up and down. Like this gurus that tell you, I am constantly happy all the time. They're full of shit. Okay. They're
We're
full of
humans.
shit. We're
Yeah.
humans. And that's the thing is that it's relatability. But I like that you brought this up because I got lots of phrases that I can't stand. One is called, how's your work-life balance? Accountants are the worst for this because like, come and join our accounting firm because we have a great work-life balance. We have a work-life
Is there any
balance.
such thing? I don't
Work-life
think
balance.
so.
I'm like, I'm sorry, wait a second. Isn't it just a life? Like
Yeah.
you have a life. You don't. So yours a life, and then when you work, you no longer have a life. Wait a second.
Whoa. Work life. What the
Like
hell are we even saying with that phrase? You're
work
right.
like work-life balance. So in other words, when I'm working, I don't have a life. But then over here I have a life. So what? Wait a second. So I always say that there's a phrase I have: life's too short to work like an accountant. It really is, you know.
Uh,
And because most of them they work because they're brainwashed into thinking that their worth is equal to how many hours they work. That's why they work so much,
yes.
right? They think their worth is equal to how many hours you work. Listener, listen to that. Do not think that your worth is equal to how many hours you work. The wealthiest people I know work the least amount because when they're working, they're not working, they're playing. They're
Hmm.
enjoying it and they're realizing this is all temporary anyways, and they don't take it so seriously. Right. When you don't take everything so seriously and you relax, you just go, look, the stoicisms, it's stoics, man. If you have you done Ryan Holiday like that,
Oh
like
yeah.
he's awesome because he's revived that old way, that old thinking. The Stoics are fantastic. I've been reading
Obstacles away.
no, oh gosh, I'm not going to forget the the writings of yeah, I'm
Marcus
going.
Aurelius.
Thank you very much. Of course, the book I would
Meditations.
have. Yeah, the Meditations
Meditations.
of Marcus Aurelius. Fantastic read. It's like, you know what? Soon you'll be dust and gone.
Yeah. What are you
Contemplate.
worried
Soon
about?
you'll be dust and gone. So why are we freaking out? Like I remind myself that constantly. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be dead soon. So why am I really freaking out about this? Not my soon, by the way. I'm not planning to leave anytime yet. And because when I relax about that and I go, yeah, I actually start, I feel younger. People see me now and they're like, holy crap, Eric, like, what are you doing? And I've said, good, clean living, right? It's good, clean living. No, it's because I've got something to live for. Like I got something to live for. And it's, for me, it's that fire in my belly to get up and go do something, right? And I love it. I love it. So, but I figured it's going to happen the whole way through for the rest of my life. Like I have no plans on retirement. There's no such thing in my head. I don't have a retirement number or date in my head because I'm like, retire is to take out of service, to no longer be useful. Like I see so many people that go and then they retire and then a year later they have cancer and then they die.
Well,
Like, well, I'm glad you saved up all that money to wait to live, right? Or that you were working, waiting to have your life, your work-life balance, quote unquote. What's the point of that?
you need a mission. And,
Yeah,
and,
a
and,
mission. Yeah.
and so there's a study that I came across recently and I brought up on the last podcast, but psychologists were able to analyze the happiest people. What they're able to break down is that the happiest men always have a mission. Okay. And
Yeah.
those individuals who retire, they lose that sense of mission. I need to wake up. I need to do this. They lose that, that flow of the day. Okay. I need to be home by this time. I need to do this. When you lose a mission, and there's an individual who was on Joe Rogan who said the happiest person that he was able to dissect was a groundskeeper for this really rich guy. The rich guy
Yeah.
wasn't the happy one. The groundskeeper was. And why?
Yeah.
Because he woke up every day with the intention and the mission to just kill the rabbits on the plantation. Okay. So all he wanted to do was kill rabbits. Okay.
It's
And
like Bill Murray and
it,
Caddyshack. Gonna get the gopher.
exactly. So this dude calculated if he was going to be winning or losing based off of if he was killing rabbits. And so what that does is it shows you that as long as you have a purpose to wake up and whether it's slay the dragon or win
Yeah.
the race or serve the people, you have to have that in your blood. And us entrepreneurs, I don't even think we think about retirement because why would we ever want this adventure to end? So when it comes to
No.
that mission oriented feeling, it translates to the warrior mentality. They
Yes.
had a mission day in and day out. And I think that's what makes them so inspiring too, where
Yes.
they freaking took they burned the boats. I believe that's where it comes from. The Vikings burn the
Yeah.
boats
Well,
mentality.
yeah. Well, they were willing to die. They wanted to die with their sword in their hand. Because if you die with your sword in your hand in battle, you will go to Valhalla and drink and celebrate with Odin, the All Father. And then you get to battle again all over. And then that, that's the whole thing. They love it. But they lived fully, right? For me, it's about, are you living fully? Are
Hmm.
you going into, and when I say go into battle, I'm not talking about going in and slaughtering people. I'm talking about going to battle with yourself. The spiritual warrior knows that the true battle is always with the self in the small s, to find the true self with the big S, right? And that's that. So that once you figure out, is to understand what my purpose and my role is here, all of a sudden it's like, wow, now I know what I'm here to do. Right. And now let's go do it, and let's have passion and purpose. Here's the thing. I gotta ask the one question. What kind of bike do you have?
I got
Motorcycle.
a couple different, well, actually about, I mean, including the bikes that I do with my brother, there's about
Yeah.
30 motorcycles, but I got a DR 650 and a
Okay.
TW 200 and a Beta 300 TXT. Those are my three babies.
Okay, so here's the thing is like when someone asked me, because I went and I finally got my motorcycle license after riding dirt bikes for years as a kid. I went and got my license, and of course I went straight to the Harley. I went to the Road King. So,
I
but
have a 71 Sportster, but I don't ride that.
yeah, okay. So, but I love my Road King. I absolutely love it. But when anybody
Great
said
bike.
that, goes, they say, "What kind of bike do you want? What kind of bike do you want?" And I always say three. And what kind of bike do you want? Three. What do you mean? I said, well, three. So I got the touring. We need the sport bike, and then I need a dirt bike.
You need
You
them
need
all.
three. You need three.
Exactly. You get
So,
it.
and all I needed to do, you just 10x'd it for me, Mike, because you went, it's not three, it's 30. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, my brother has a YouTube channel, and we go to the Mid Ohio Vintage Motorcycle Days. We buy dirt bikes, old dirt bikes. He's the
Yeah.
mechanic, and he buys them, and then we flip them. He puts them on a YouTube
Okay.
channel, and
Yeah.
it's called Garage to Trail. So you got to check it out. But
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
they're dirt bikes, and we ride together pretty much 2 or 3 times a week. So dirt bikes, it's in my blood, but that is a part of me that I gave up to start a business. And whenever I got it back, it was like, oh, a part of my soul came back. So it sounds like
Yeah.
that's what happened to you.
Yeah. Oh, totally. If I'm in a bad mood, all I got to do is jump on my motorcycle, go for a ride. I come back, I feel like a kid again. I want to ride a motorcycle. I just feel free and just, I'm so full of life. I love it.
And there was a study done on that too. Why is it that dirt bike riders and motorcycle riders are able to be at peace? And the reason why is because you are so in the moment when you're on that bike. Because if you do make a mistake, you can get seriously hurt. So what it shows you is that not thinking about everything else and focusing on
It's,
staying alive and survival
yeah, yeah.
allows you to be in the moment automatically, and that's what produces joy. So, individuals who have nothing going on don't put themselves in harm's way. Skydivers, think about skydivers. They're putting themselves in harm's way. They could die at any time, but they're happier. Why? Because at any moment it could be over, which allows them to enjoy right here, right now.
Bingo. Present moment awareness. The king of the power of now, Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Do you know where he lives?
No.
I'm pointing to his place right there. He
Oh, no
lives
way.
he lives on Salt Spring Island, which is right off of Vancouver Island. So that's where I live. It's on Vancouver Island, and Salt Spring is one of the Gulf Islands there. So it's like, for the listeners that don't know what I'm talking about, it's around the Puget Sound, like Seattle area, but we're just north of the border in Canada. But he's right there.
Oh,
I
man.
point at Eckhart. There he is, right there.
Tell
Power.
him to respond to one of my emails. I sent him an email or his company an email. Never got a
Yeah,
response. Tell him
yeah,
to
no,
respond.
yeah. I'll when I talk to him, I'll tell you. I'll tell him, hey, Mike's been trying to get a hold of you, and he'll go, "Who's Mike?" Like, and that'd be like, he won't know. Everybody else is there. So, but yeah,
Oh, I know I'm taking up a lot of your time. We can talk for hours, but uh,
yeah,
I want everybody to check out his book. Now, obviously, he's getting into all kinds of other stuff with the Viking Academy that's coming out very soon. But the Accountant Success Formula, freeing today's accountant from an oppressive business model. If you pick it up, I'm sure a lot of lessons, even if you're not an accountant, will transcend the accounting world and go into any business. But outside of that, there is a website that you have, and I think it's, and I'm saying this correctly, Eric solbachincpa.com. Is that the best website for people
Yeah,
to look
that's
you
it.
up and find you
Yeah.
right now?
Or just accountantsuccessformula.com will reroute you to that one too. So that's the website for those. And we're talking to entrepreneurs here. So like, I mean, I'm serving the accountants as opposed to the entrepreneurs. Um, for entrepreneurs, tell your accountant to do the accountant success formula, and then they will serve you better.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Say,
Yeah,
here,
great
take the book,
takeaway.
go do this because I'm sick and tired of giving me a bill at the end of the year and not giving me the proper advice. Here's Eric. He's got a whole bunch of resources. Go do that. Right.
Mm. Yeah, great advice because my accountant, I go in there. It's funny. I'll cruise in. I get out of my car. I'm always trying to be super tan in the summertime or springtime. I go in there. He's pasty white. I say, Dave, you got to get outside, man. You're working
Yeah.
too hard. You got to let go of some people and you got to do the whole $200 a month thing. And the hardest part for him, and probably this is what you see, is that when you do that, you might be saying goodbye to a lot of people who helped you get to where you're at. And maybe you have transformed and you have become this different type of entrepreneur slash accountant since when you started. So it is an identity shift, and that is really hard for people. So I understand that.
Yeah. It's so you can outgrow your clients. Just remember that you can outgrow your clients because clients will outgrow you. So, like for the accountants, for example, certain businesses will get to a certain size and then they'll go, oh, you know what? I got to go get a bigger firm now. I got to get someone with more tax expertise. I need this. And they will leave you. So, clients or customers will come to you, ascend to a certain point, and then they'll like, okay, I need to go to someone else now because I've outgrown you.
Yep.
Okay, great. But you can outgrow your clients too. So, especially for the accountants, is they keep all this bottom. And I said, bottom end clients destroy your bottom line. Bottom end clients destroy
Oh,
your bottom
write
line.
that down, guys. That is good.
Bottom end clients destroy your bottom line. Okay. Through money, through over, I have this thing called the PAIC, and it's called the pain in the ass curve. And there's pain on the one axis, and then there's amount of money they pay you on the other. So here's the money on the vertical axis, pain on the other horizontal axis. And then they pay you the most amount of money, they give you the least amount of pain. As you start they paying you less, all of a sudden it slides down, and then the less they pay you, the more pain. So the lowest paying clients are the ones that cause you the most suffering.
100% truth, man.
So
I
but
like that.
dude,
I'm gonna check that out.
okay.
Before we run out of time, I have to ask you about heavy metal. You're a heavy metal guy. We could talk about heavy metal and just music in general probably for hours, but
Yeah.
I was saying before we hit the record button, I was a punk rocker. All right, I was a
Mhm.
Social Distortion, Clash, all growing up, and then I realized the way that they look at life, and it's just it's not what I thought. A lot of them are not really against the system. They are a part of the system. Green Day, for example. But a lot of my heavy metal, the bands that my brother listened to, his heavy metal bands, when it comes to Slayer and Megadeth, they had it right from the beginning. So I've been listening to more Slayer, more
Yeah.
Megadeth. My question to you is, what type of music do you produce or write or play? And then
Yeah.
who do you listen to more than anything else?
Okay. So yeah, I'm an 80s emo. So I was right in the 80s middle of when the 80s hit, I was in my teens, right? Like I was born 1970. So like when 1984, the album from Van Halen, 1984 came out, I was 14
Oh,
years old, most like imprinted on my brain, right? So,
so are
so
you a David Lee Roth guy or are you a Van Hagar? I was always a Van Hagar, but the older I get,
yeah,
I'm becoming more David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth they're two different bands. They're
Yeah, they are.
two totally different bands, right? Like, um, so they're David Lee. No one writes lyrics like David Lee Roth. No one was like David Lee Roth. No one will ever be like David Lee Roth, and which is good because he's just whacked out at all hell's
Oh,
half acres right now.
yep.
But anyways, the music that I'm playing in this band is called Rain Down. It's REIGN. It's that 80s metal band. It's on Facebook, Rain Down Band, and we play all the 80s metal. So we're doing like White Snake, we do Iron Maiden,
Oh,
More
come on, Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden, Ozzy Osbourne, some Black Sabbath. We've actually thrown in a little bit. We did some Disturbed and some Five Finger Death Punch as well. So because we had to throw in a little bit of that because I love that era as well. We do, the Immigrant Song and Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. Not really 80s, but it's still really fun to play. And then of course, some of my favorite songs is like Hot for Teacher. And so I'm the drummer and lead singer of the band. So
Mm.
I'm drumming and lead singing at the same time. We got a guitarist and a bassist. And so we've got a show coming up in a couple of weeks. Actually, next Friday we're playing. We haven't been out. We haven't played for a long time. So
It's called Rain Down.
yeah, Reign.
Beautiful. And I'm going to
Yeah, Rain
introduce
Down
you to one of
Band.
my clients. His name is Damon Nichols, drummer. He just got back into drumming, but a badass, loves heavy metal, has
Yeah.
a podcast. So you're going to be ripe for him, just so you know.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. Oh, and then just as a last plug, I did play in a Motley Crue tribute band, but that was back when I was drinking, and it's like it's true. There's a certain balance of Jack Daniels and cocaine that make you a rock star. It's quite true. And then there's a certain balance that makes you fall off the stage. Like literally, I fell off the stage and like crash, and they like had to carry me out from the show. And we were pretending to be Motley Crue, and I was like acting like them. I was the lead singer on that one.
Heavy metal, Viking, accountant. One of those doesn't fit, just so you know.
Yeah. But here's the,
Oh.
here's the thing for the listener again. I really want you to find the passion that fires you up inside and what's holding you back. I'm telling you, man, writing a book was absolutely pivotal for my business. And it like I said, those three things, clarity, self-awareness, and opportunities, guaranteed every time. I really like that. I really like that. So if you're thinking about it, don't think about it. Just do it because I guarantee you have something to share that somebody needs to hear.
I'm right. I'm with you. Yeah. And it helps you complete that mission, right? Once you become known for something, now you can go out there and do it day in, day out on social media, on podcasts, on stages, in front of everybody who's watching. So I'm
Yep.
with you, man. It's been an honor to talk with you. Check out the website, get his book, wait for his Viking Academy that will be out, I think you said next quarter. So,
Yep.
Eric Solbakken, thanks so much for being here, man.
Thanks, Mike. My pleasure.
Remember, guys, $1 million book will lead to $1 million life. Right on.